Lou Hamilton from Audible Elegance of Cincinnati, Ohio. My store is located on Montgomery Road, across the street from Montgomery Cyclery, a few doors north of the inn. Please do subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Enjoy the new changes to our website, as we've done quite a bit of work there with some new categories like specials, where manufacturers give us an opportunity to share the joy, so to speak. And the topic I want to get into right now is essentially what's been going on with CD players. And while the format is right now in her dusk, so to speak, there are opportunities to buy a lot of music very cheaply on the CD format. A lot of them are going for $1 or so. I go to auction and I might buy a whole tub for $5, and so I get some control over what I'm listening to and not spending for a subscription monthly anyway. The thing I wanted to talk about is that now that the industry is very limited in terms of the production of transports, the problem is that they've actually become rather flimsy. They're not the most solid themselves, and this has aspects that are not ideal. Some of it may involve vibration as far as what's happening with the motor and the disc and the clamp, which means the error correction circuitry is working even harder, which is not something you really want. And I'm pointing this out because, Riga has a CD player known as the Saturn, and they did not get into drawer loading mechanisms. They saw too many frailties and the problems that mechanically what they were causing. So their machine is in fact a top loader. That gives them much better mechanical control of the performance of the DAC. Now, for those people who are unfamiliar with how a CD player works, which is why a DVD player, by the way, is not an ideal thing to use, a CD player basically has 3 servos. One servo controls the focus. The next servo controls its location on the disc. And then there's a servo that controls speed. And the ideal thing, as Philip set up, was to have that on an oscilloscope being as small as it can, was affectionately known as an eye patch. And the smaller the eye patch, the more everything was working synchronously together. And so the mechanical vibrations or anything that's going on, transport-wise or motor-wise, is going to increase the size of that eye patch, and error correction circuitry is going to be working more and more. So you really, that's why, Riga said, we really can't produce a great machine if we're crippled from the very beginning with a cheap transport. And unfortunately, cheap transports, or even in very expensive, can be an issue. So the top loaders, aren't most suitable, for everyone, because the advantage of a front loader is you can put it on a shelf and that's that. Top loader is looking for either being on a top or something, or good accessibility on a shelf itself. But they are worthy machines and actually quite delightful to use. So that's kind of my take on what's going on with the CD industry right now. Do enjoy, if you have one, going out and buying music real cheap. Do be careful about how badly scratched they are, which reminds me of another thing. That the way a CD is read is basically from the inside out, and it's one continuous loop. And its data is, we'll call it X. And trying to use a DVD player to play a CD, well, it works to some degree. The problem is that the ideal focus for DVD is it's that its data is packed much more tightly. So, the focus is a bit different than for CD, which the data is a lot wider, shall we say, it is a track. The other thing is that a DVD works more like a computer hard drive in that the information is being accessed at different points as opposed to a continuous spin. So while CD players have been made to, DVD players have been made to play CDs, they're not the most ideal. And again, their operating systems and everything else are very different. Arcam for a while made CD players which used completely different operating systems when they tried to play CD or DVD on their DVD players, and it was noticeable. So, you know, if you can afford, and the Riga is not cheap, but you want a quality CD player, certainly take a look at the Riga Saturn. Thank you.